In this video, we'll be looking at the Anagrams interview question in Java. My name is Larry, and this is Digital Logic. To get started, you'll need to download the project from GitHub. A link is in the description below. I've also provided a link to the introduction video to the series, which will walk you through setting up your development environment. With that out of the way, let's get started. So I've already got the project open in IntelliJ. So I'll open up the project browser and find the Anagrams class. For this challenge, you need to write a function that will determine if one string is an anagram of another. An anagram is a string that is formed by rearranging the letters of another string. Make sure to ignore capitalization, punctuation, and spaces. The following examples demonstrate the expected output for the provided input. Once you have a solution that you're ready to test, press Ctrl-Shift-T to open up the testing class. Then click on the little icon next to the class name to run the test. The testing class will pick up any public method that you define that matches the expected signature, so you can provide multiple solutions, and the testing class will test all of them. And finally, if you want to attempt this challenge without any hints, then pause the video now. One possible solution would be to sort the characters within the string and then do the comparison. Another possible solution is to create a character map that would keep track of how many times each character appears within the string. So go ahead and pause the video now and try to come up with a solution to this challenge. When you're ready to continue, come back here and we'll walk through several different solutions. Welcome back. So I'll start by creating some extra space under the class, and then I'll rename this method to sorted, and then delete the return false statement. So for the first step, I need to strip out all of the characters from the strings that I don't want. So I'll create a new pattern equals pattern.compile. The /w meta character selector will select any regular word character A through Z, 0 through 9, and underscore. Capitalizing it will invert the selection. But they'll still let the underscore character pass through, and I want to remove those as well. So I'll add in a set selector and then include the underscore within the set selector. You could also pass in A-Z 0-9 within the set selector and then negate it. Both do the same thing, so it's your choice. So next I'll create a character array, char A equals pattern.matcher, then pass in string A dot to lowercase. Then call dot replace all, and then pass in an empty string as a replacement string. And then call toCharArray. And now do the exact same thing to string B. Now I'm going to sort the characters within the char array. So I'll use arrays.sort and then pass in char A. And then do the exact same thing for char B. Now we could create a for loop and then iterate through the characters within the char array and compare them one at a time, or we can convert them back into strings and then just use string comparison. So return string.value of char A dot equals string.value of char B. Press Ctrl-Shift-T to open up the testing class, and then run the test. And the solution has passed the test. For the next solution, I'll create a character map to keep track of how many times each character appears within the string. So I'll create a new public static method, and I'll name it char map. And then I'll create a helper function to transform the string into a map. This way I won't have to repeat the same logic for each string. So I'll create a new private static method that'll return a map of type string and integer. And I'll name it toCharMap. So I'll return pattern.compile. And for the regex, I'll pass in a set selector a-z 0-9. So this will select any regular character a through z 0 through 9. Now call .matcher and then pass in str.toLowerCase. And now call .results, which will return a stream of type match results. Call map and then pass in match result method reference to group. This will take our stream of match result and transform it into a stream of strings. Now call collect and then pass in collectors .toMap. The first parameter is the key mapper, and for this I'll provide a lambda that will just return the string from the stream. The second parameter is the value mapper, and for this I'll provide a lambda that just returns the value of 1. The third parameter is the merge function, and it defines how we handle key collisions within the hash map. When we try to insert two letters that are the same, what do? We want to sum their values. So add the integer method reference to sum. That is it for our helper function. Now we just need to put it to use. Create a new map of type string and integer. And I'll name this map A equals to char map, and then pass in string A. And then do the same thing for string B. So the first thing we want to check is if both maps have the same number of keys. So create an if statement, map A dot size is not equal to map B dot size. If this is true, then return false. Now create a for loop entry of type string and integer, and I'll name it entry of map A dot entry set. And then import the map class. And then I'll add an import for map.entry. Now we need to check if map B has the same character count as map A. So I'll create an if statement, map B.get entry.getKey. The value that will be retrieved will be an integer object. So to check for equality, I'll use dot equals and then pass in entry.getValue. And then negate the statement to check if they're not equal. And then return false. If we make it through the for loop without ever returning false, then return true. Press Shift F10 to rerun the test. And it's failing the test. But why is it failing the test? Let's take a look at the error message again. So we're getting a null pointer exception on line 48. Pause the video here and see if you can figure out why. Welcome back. So why are we getting a null pointer exception here? The get method within the map interface will either return the value at the provided key or null. If it returns null, and then we attempt to access the equals method from it, it's going to throw a null pointer exception. Luckily for us, it's pretty easy to fix. We just need to rearrange a few things within the if statement's condition block. So I'll comment out this line of code. So I'll create a new if statement, and this time I'll start off by accessing the entry's value, which is guaranteed to be non-null, and then call equals, and then pass in the value from map B. Press Shift F10 to rerun the test, and now it's passing the test. For this last solution, I'm going to use an Int Array to keep track of the character count. So I'll create a new public static method, and I'll name it Int Array. First thing I'll do is create a new pattern to strip out the characters that I don't want. And I'll use the set selector with the /w metacharacter selector and underscore character. Now I'll create a new init array, and I'll call it char map. equals new Int Array, and I'll set its length to 26, since there are 26 letters in the alphabet. This solution will only work for the characters A through Z. If there are any numbers in the string, then it won't work. None of the test cases include numbers, so it won't be an issue. But because of that, I'll go ahead and change the regex pattern so that it'll select everything that is not the characters A through Z. So now I'll create a new string, and I'll name it copy A equals pattern dot matcher, and then pass in string A dot to lowercase, and then replace all, and then pass in an empty string as the replacement string. Now I'll create a new for loop, char c in copy A dot to char array, char map at c minus the character A, and then we're going to increment the integer at this index. Now we're just going to do the same thing with string B. So create a new string, copy B equals pattern dot matcher, pass in string B dot to lowercase, and then call replace all. Create another for loop, char C in copy B dot to char array, and then char map at C minus the character A. And this time we're going to decrement the integer at this index. So if string A and string B are anagrams of each other, then every integer in the char map should have the value of 0. So create another for loop to verify that. And then if I is not equal to 0, then return false. Otherwise, if we make it through the for loop, return true. Press Shift F10 to rerun the test, and it passes the test. Well, that is it for this video. If you like this video, then please like, share, subscribe. If you want to support the creation of these videos, then check out my Patreon page. A link is in the description below, and I'll see you in the next video.